No one ever plans to walk out on their own family.
In this true story, it didn't happen because of betrayal or money. It happened because of words. The father was a hard-working man, long hours, endless pressure, bills that never stopped coming. He believed providing money was the same as providing love, and because of that belief, he carried frustration home every night. His two daughters were still young, loud, curious, messy, like most kids. They made mistakes. That evening started like any other. Dinner was late. Homework was unfinished. Toys were scattered across the floor. When the father saw the mess, something inside him snapped. His voice rose. Then rose again. He scolded the girls sharply. Too sharply. They froze, their eyes filled with tears. Not because they didn't understand rules, but because they felt fear. That's when the mother stepped in. She didn't scream. She didn't insult him. She didn't embarrass him. She simply stood between him and the girls. Her voice was calm, but firm. "Don't scold my daughters like that," she said. "Take care of your own behavior first." The room went silent. Those words hit him harder than shouting ever could. In his mind, he wasn't being corrected, he was being challenged, disrespected, undermined in front of his children. His pride took control. Instead of listening, he reacted. He grabbed his jacket. "I won't stay where I'm not respected," he said. The girls cried quietly, holding on to their mother's clothes. The mother didn't stop him. She looked tired, not angry, just tired. He walked out that door believing one thing: they'll realize they need me. But as the door closed behind him, something else happened. For the first time, the house didn't chase him. No one ran after him. No one begged. That silence would soon become his loudest punishment. As he walked into the dark street, he didn't know this was the moment his life split into before and after, and what happened next would shock him forever. The first night away felt strange, but not painful. The father checked into a cheap place, dropped his bag on the bed, and sat there in silence. No noise, no questions, no crying. For a moment it felt like relief. He told himself he needed space. He told himself he deserved peace. He turned on the TV, but didn't watch it. He scrolled his phone, waiting for it to buzz. A call, a message, anything. Nothing came. By morning, he was irritated more than worried. "They're just angry," he thought. "They'll call." He went to work like nothing had happened. He focused on tasks. He laughed with coworkers. He even told himself. He felt lighter, but the silence followed him. During lunch, he checked his phone again. Still nothing. That night, he ate alone. The food tasted flat. He noticed how quiet the room was. No footsteps, no laughter, no small voices arguing over homework. He pushed the thought away. Days passed. At first, he enjoyed doing things without explanation. Sleeping late, coming home whenever he wanted. No rules, no responsibilities, but something felt wrong. He started noticing small things. Things he never noticed before. How his shirts were wrinkled. How the fridge was always empty. How the house felt cold, even when the heater was on. At home, everything had always been handled without him realizing it. The meals, the schedules, the small routines that made life work. Now, nothing worked. He missed his daughters in ways he didn't expect. Not just their laughter, but their presence. The way they would run to show him a drawing. The way they waited for his approval. He remembered their faces that night. The fear, the confusion. He tried not to think about it. On the fourth day, he finally sent a message. "Hope everyone is okay." It was short, safe, distant. No reply. That silence hit harder than any argument. He began replaying the moment again and again. The way his wife stood in front of the girls, the calm in her voice, the strength he had mistaken for disrespect. He had always believed being a father meant being in control, being firm, being obeyed, but control had pushed him out the door, late. One night, his phone rang. For a second, his heart jumped. It wasn't his wife. It was someone from school. The voice was careful, polite. "There's been a change in your daughter's pickup schedule," the person said. "Your wife updated it? You're no longer listed." The words landed slowly. Removed. That was the moment he understood. Something important. Life hadn't paused without him. It had adjusted. The next day he drove past the house. Just once. He told himself it was coincidence. The lights were on. The curtains were closed. Life was happening inside without him. He sat in the car longer than he meant to. He wanted to walk up. He wanted to knock. He wanted to say something, but pride held him back. Instead, he drove away. That night, something else happened. He had a sudden pain in his chest, not sharp, but heavy. His breath shortened. Panic crept in. For the first time, he was scared, lying there alone. He realized something painful. If something happened to him right now, no one would know. No one would come? That thought stayed with him. The next morning, he woke up tired. Not from lack of sleep, but from guilt. He started seeing the truth in pieces. His wife wasn't disrespecting him. She was protecting her children, and he hadn't walked out because he was right. He walked out because he couldn't handle being wrong. Still, he didn't return. Not yet, because deep down he feared something worse than anger. He feared that while he was gone, they were learning how to live without him, and that fear would soon become very real. Inside the house. Life did not stop. It slowed down. It changed shape. But it did not fall apart. The mother woke up early the morning after he left. Earlier than usual. She lay in bed for a moment, staring at the ceiling, listening to the quiet. It was a different kind of quiet, heavy, careful. She got up before the girls. Woke. She made breakfast like always. Simple, warm, familiar. She didn't want the girls to feel like everything had changed overnight, even though it had. When the daughters came into the kitchen, they looked around without realizing why something felt off. They asked for their father without using his name. "Is he coming back today?" One of them asked softly. The mother paused. "Let's get ready for school," she said gently. She didn't lie. But she didn't explain either. At school, the girls were quieter than usual. One teacher noticed. Another didn't. Kids don't always know how to talk about pain, especially when it comes from home. One of the girls blamed herself. "If I had cleaned my toys faster," she thought. "If I hadn't spoken back," the other believed. Children always think they're the reason adults leave. At home, the mother carried more than before. She handled the bills, the schedules, the questions. At night, after the girls were asleep, she sat alone at the table with papers spread out. Numbers didn't add up easily. She adjusted, cut back, made quiet decisions no one would ever thank her for. She cried once. Just once. Not loudly, not long. Then she wiped her face and kept going. She wasn't angry anymore. She was focused. The girls noticed small changes. Dinner was simpler. Lights were turned off earlier. Weekends were quieter, but something else changed. The house felt calmer. No sudden shouting. No tension hanging in the air. The girls slept better. One night, the younger one asked, "Are we bad?" The mother pulled her close. "No," she said firmly. "You are loved." That was all the answer they needed. The mother began setting new routines. Reading before bed. Walks in the evening. Talking more, really talking. She listened. She learned things about her daughters she hadn't noticed before. Their fears. Their hopes. The things they kept inside when voices were raised. And slowly, the girls opened up. They laughed again, not loudly, but honestly. Meanwhile, the father's absence became normal. Days passed. Then weeks. The girls stopped asking when he would come back. That hurt the mother more than any argument ever had. She didn't speak badly about him. She didn't defend him either. She let silence tell the truth. One afternoon, the school called again. This time, it was about a drawing. One of the daughters had drawn a picture of their family. There were 3 figures. Not 4. When the mother saw it, her chest tightened. She thanked the teacher and hung up. That night, she sat on the edge of the bed, staring at the drawing. She wasn't sure if she was protecting the girls anymore, or preparing them for life without him, and that thought scared her, not because she needed him, but because the girls were learning something permanent. They were learning that love doesn't shout, that safety matters more than pride, that sometimes the person who leaves is not the strongest one. And somewhere else, alone in a quiet room, the father had no idea what was happening inside that house. no idea that the hardest part wasn't the argument. It was the healing that was happening without him. At first, the father told himself he was fine. He woke up. He went to work. He paid for his meals. He slept alone. On the outside, nothing looked wrong, but inside, things were starting to crack. He began making small mistakes at work, forgetting deadlines, losing focus during meetings. His mind wandered to places he didn't want to visit. Once, a coworker raised their voice at him over a minor issue. The tone was sharp, accusing, and suddenly, he felt it, that same tight feeling in his chest. The same anger. The same urge to defend himself instead of listening. For the first time, he stopped himself. He saw his own reflection in that moment. He had sounded just like that with his daughters. That realization shook him. A few days later, he got sick. Not serious, just enough to slow him down. Fever, weakness, long nights alone. No one checked on him. No one brought soup. No one asked if he was okay. Lying there, staring at the ceiling, he remembered all the times his wife had quietly taken care of him. He never thanked her. He assumed it was normal. Now, nothing was normal. He tried calling. Once. It rang. Then stopped. No answer. He didn't leave a message. Fear crept in, not fear of rejection, but fear of being irrelevant. Then came the moment that broke him. He ran into someone he knew at the store. Someone from the neighborhood. They talked politely for a minute. Then the person said something simple. "Your girls seem happier lately." The words weren't meant to hurt, but they did. He forced a smile and nodded. Happier. Him that night. He couldn't sleep. He sat on the edge of the bed, head in his hands, replaying everything. The shouting, the walking out, the silence. For the first time, he admitted the truth. He hadn't been protecting his authority. He had been protecting his ego, and his ego had cost him his family. The next morning, he drove to the house, not to go in, just to see it. The yard was cleaner. The windows were open. He saw movement inside. Life, order. Peace. He realized something painful. They weren't waiting for him to change. They had changed without him. That's when panic truly set in. He wasn't afraid of being forgiven. He was afraid of being unnecessary. He sat in the car for a long time, staring at the front door. Finally, he did something different. He didn't make excuses. He didn't prepare an argument. He didn't blame stress or work. He whispered words he had avoided for weeks. "I was wrong." Saying it out loud felt heavy. But honest. That night he wrote a message. Not short. Not defensive. Just honest. "I'm sorry, I hurt the girls. I hurt you. I left when I should have listened." He didn't ask to come back. He waited. For the first time. He waited without anger. And somewhere inside that house, the message was read, but the reply didn't come right away. The reply came the next morning. Just one line. "Come by this evening." No warmth, no anger, no promises. The father read it over and over again. His hands shook, not from fear of shouting, but from fear of what silence might mean. That evening, he stood outside the house longer than he should have. The door looked the same. The walls looked the same. He was the one who had changed. When the door opened, his wife stood there calmly. Not cold. Not welcoming. Just steady. The girls were in the living room. They looked up. And then looked away. That hurt more than anything else. He stepped inside slowly, like a guest. No one hugged him. No one ran to him. No one cried. They sat down. The wife spoke first. "You scared them," she said quietly. No blame. Just truth. He nodded. "I know." She continued, "You didn't just leave the house. You left them wondering if love disappears when someone makes a mistake." The girls stayed silent. He wanted to explain, to say he was stressed, tired, pressured. He didn't. "I was wrong," he said again, "and I'm sorry." The older daughter looked at him, eyes serious. "Are you going to leave again?" she asked. The question froze him, because he couldn't answer it with words. The wife spoke instead. "We're not pretending this didn't happen," she said. "Things can't go back to how they were." He understood this wasn't about forgiveness. It was about trust. And trust doesn't return quickly. He asked if he could stay. Not move back. Just stay for dinner. The girls exchanged glances. The wife nodded once. Dinner was quiet but peaceful. He listened more than he spoke. Afterward he helped Clean up. Without being asked Dot before leaving, he knelt in front of his daughters. I won't raise my voice again, he said. If I do, you can walk away. That surprised them. It surprised him too. As he left, he didn't feel relief. He felt responsibility. That night, the wife sat alone after the girls were asleep. She thought about how strong she had been. And how tired. She knew something important. Letting him return didn't mean forgetting. It meant watching closely. The father went back to his empty place, but this time it felt different. Because now he wasn't outside because of pride. He was outside because he had to earn his way back, and the hardest part was still coming. The father didn't move back in, not right away. Weeks passed and he came by regularly, not to correct, not to control, but to be present. He showed up when he said he would. He listened when the girls spoke. He kept his voice calm even when things didn't go his way. Change, he learned, is quiet. The daughters watched him closely. Children always do. At first, they didn't trust the calm. They had seen calm before, right before shouting. But this time was different. When he felt anger rising, he stepped away. When he made mistakes, he admitted them. One evening, one of the girls spilled a drink. The room went still. Everyone waited. He took a breath, grabbed a towel, and cleaned it up without a word. The younger daughter whispered. He didn't yell. That moment mattered more than any apology. The wife stayed observant. She didn't praise him. She didn't punish him. She let actions speak. One night, she finally said what had been sitting in her chest for months. I protected them because no one protected me when I was young. He listened. For the first time, he didn't interrupt. She explained that love without safety isn't love, it's fear. That respect doesn't come from being loud, but from being consistent. He realized something painful. He had been teaching his daughters how to accept anger. Now, he had a chance to teach them something better. Trust returned slowly, not all at once, not completely, but enough. Months later, he moved back in, not as the man who left, but as someone willing to learn. And life wasn't perfect. They still disagreed. They still struggled, but the house felt different, quieter, kinder. Years later, one of the daughters would say something that stayed with him forever. Mom didn't protect us from you, she said. She protected you from becoming someone we'd be afraid of. That was the shocking truth. Walking out didn't teach anyone a lesson. Listening did. And that lesson stayed with him for the rest of his life.